Good morning. We should all be live now. Everything should be all gravy. I hope you're all doing well today. Let me just make sure. 1 second. I've got emails coming in. Somebody's just joined my Zoom for tonight. They are 8 hours early. So, if you don't know, for those people who've done my training, I am doing a coaching session tonight on fears and phobias. Sorry, I'm just bringing this open in a different thing so I can see because I don't fully trust the messaging system here. So I'll just make sure I can see comments here. See, it's saying I've got nobody looking there, but 5 people looking here. I don't know what's going on. Oh, hey, Haley Diamond. Just try to log into the Zoom, I see. Right, let me just get rid of all this. Of all the stuff. Right, I'm going to start uploading these to YouTube as well because Facebook deletes these after a month now, and I'm going to start uploading them with all the questions. It won't be time stamped, but it will be all online. Let me get you the questions from today. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, just getting spell checking stuff. Huh. Hi, Narco. Hi, Haley. Yeah, wrong platform. Don't worry. Sorry, I just got quite a few last minute questions here. Okay. What I'm getting a bit concerned about is people kind of moving away from, oh, why isn't it letting me comment? It's just grayed out the comments box. I'm going to have to open it somewhere else. Sorry about this. Again, this isn't me. This is the platform. So I want to put all the questions in so you can see what I can see. But there we go. But Facebook is playing silly buggers. Yeah, it's kind of. I can see that it's still running, but it is all kind of pretty much frozen on my side. Well done, Facebook. I think that people are getting a little bit further away from IEMT and the actual language that we use and sort of coming up with their own sort of interpretations, stuff like that, which we don't want to be doing. So in the manual, I have rewritten a lot of the manual actually over the weekend, and it says use this exact language. I got some case studies sent, it was a week or so ago, and with the integrative pattern, or the kinesthetic pattern, which I'm now going to call it, I'm now going to call it the intro pattern, or the intro demo, and the kinesthetic pattern. And basically the questions are, so this emotion, you have this emotion, how strong is it out of 10? How familiar is this way of feeling? And when is the first time you can remember feeling this way now? Is this memory vivid? That's the language. And I've seen people like, so when you get into this feeling, do you know this feeling? What's that like for you? Can you feel where this feeling starts and does it have a color? Now, when you really identify with this feeling, I just want you to go back. I just want you to go back and really become aware. Like, no, get rid of all of that. Stick to the exact language, please. That will be much better if you just stick to the exact language that I give you. In the manuals, everything that's in italics is basically the exact language to use. Right, okay, so we've got quite a few things kind of going on today. Some things are going to require a bit of a lengthy explanation, but we'll see how we go. I had one client who had a lot of childhood trauma, and I couldn't move to the identity pattern in the second session due to the amount of vivid memories he has. I still feel he has a lot to work on, but he's not good at identifying his emotions. How many sessions of IEMT should we offer with this scenario? I have no idea. I don't know who the client is. I don't know what situation they're really in. What I do know is that you shouldn't just be doing negative memories. You should be right. So when I work with somebody, I will maybe do the intro pattern or the intro demo. I'll then maybe do a few of any specific memories. Then we're into the kinesthetic pattern. So he's not good at identifying his emotions. I think that you're overcomplicating it. Okay, I think you're overcomplicating it. It's basically when you think of this now you can even go back, when you think about these past memories, what's it like? Know that feeling you have right now? How strong, how familiar, and when's the first time you can remember feeling this way? Now, the thing is, when you're doing really historic stuff, you have two things going on here. You have how those memories make him feel when accessing those memories and how he feels about those memories. And they are two different things. Does that make sense? So if you break down these memories, the specific negative ones, and you only need to do a few of them, that begins to kind of loosen things up. You don't need them to identify the memory of, okay, well, this is shit. You can just literally be that feeling. Also, I do class as memory, states, feelings, emotions. They're all the same thing. We'll get to that in another question later on, but it's all the same thing. Um, so I think that you're sort of overcomplicating this a little bit. So it also seems that if you're not kind of controlling the sessions, if you don't get to what you're planning to do in the second session. So I would put a certain amount of time that you're going to spend doing certain amount of things. So for me, working now, I've worked with some of the most appalling cases you can possibly imagine. I'll get to the identity stuff in the second session. You don't need to do loads of stuff. And also, again, if you're doing the simple pattern or the introductory pattern, demo pattern, what we call it now, it's only working on one memory. When you're using the kinesthetic pattern, you're working on loads because you're creating a flow of memory. So my advice here is get to the kinesthetic pattern faster. If they're having a hard feeling identifying the memories, don't get them to identify them. Just go with what's going on. You don't need to separate them out into lots of different things. I have someone to work on for a case study and trying to figure out the best way to approach it as I want it to go well. She would like to work on her lifelong self-esteem, low self-esteem. The only feeling she has put on her form is a feeling of self-loathing. On the memories, she hasn't specified any particular memories, and she has put general bad memories associated with having to keep secrets due to her father's mental health issue. I'm thinking I need to find some specific memories. I'm assuming I work on the feeling of self-loathing and find the first time she can remember feeling like that. Work on any memories and deal with any feelings that come out of those. Then I, myself, you, specific to the self-loathing feeling. Any feedback idea? Okay. If somebody's got a lifelong problem of self-loathing, they're probably not going to be the best case study, are they? If they have a lifelong problem. If somebody has a lifelong problem, the chances are of you helping them dramatically in 2 sessions is not going to be great. I would also ask what kind of diagnoses this person has and what medication they're on, because if it's a lifelong condition, chances are they're on some sort of medication and they'll have some sort of diagnosis. And if so, that's a contraindication, especially with your case studies. Um, so they have a feeling of self-loathing. Okay, so again, I think we're getting it, and this is probably my fault. And again, in future trainings, I'm going to try readdress this a little bit. I think people are getting too bogged down with just doing the simple pattern or the introduction pattern too much. And what we have to do, especially in the first session, is get to the integrative pattern faster. Okay, so we have here particular memories put on bad. She's put general bad memories associated with her having to keep a secret from her father's mental health issues. Well, you don't want to exacerbate a situation. And if she's having to keep, so I don't know, it's quite hard to advise, isn't it? So she's put general bad memories. Okay, Um, yeah, so this really is going to be an exploration of the problem. Okay, this is going to be an exploration. Okay, no diagnosis or medication. She did mention she didn't want her photo taken after the age of 5. Um, okay, so what I would do here is I would start with the self-loathing. Start off with a demo subject with a demo memory, and then go into this self-loathing. A feeling of self-loathing. There we go. She has a feeling of self-loathing. How strong is this feeling? How familiar? And when is the first time you can remember feeling this way now? And go for the imprints. And then the I me self you, I guess, comes from the self-loathing feeling. No, because we don't do the I me self you from a feeling. We don't do it from a memory. We do it from a situation of an area of life that they want to change. So it might be when they are self-loathing, but when are they self-loathing? Is it when they get home on Friday at 5 o'clock after work? Is it so we're not doing the identity. This is very, very important. We're not doing the identity work from a feeling or from a memory. We're doing it from a situation of their life that they want to change. Does that make sense? So yes, they might have self-loathing, but people don't have they don't wake up self-loathing, self-loathing, and they have that all day until they go to bed. Okay. So if they have self-loathing, when in their life do they have self-loathing? And that's what I do the I, me, self, you identity from. I'm guessing something happened around the age 5 or 6. She hasn't liked having a photo taken since then, and before then she was center of it all. Possibly, possibly. You can certainly just ask her about that. You could even just do a simple pattern on that, maybe. Uh, what is the procedure of being an IMT trainer? I don't know. Um, so I became an IMT trainer in the original batch of people, which was a long time ago, like 13, 14 years ago. Um, I know Andy did another training to train trainers, but I don't know anything else apart from that. So people get a bit confused sometimes. People think that I work at the association or have some sort of more input with the association, and I really don't. All I do is I run a training and I send people to the association to become certified or to join the membership, then I can certify you. I don't really have much more involvement with the association than that. There's lots of boards and just, I don't know, there's lots of people involved in it. I'm not. I haven't been asked to be honest, so I'm not involved with anything else. So I can only refer you to the association website and to ask Andy, but I don't know. I will say, I'd speculate though, I think this came from somebody who did their training earlier this year. You're not going to get made trainer unless you've probably got at least a year or two experience, which is demonstrable through other case studies or overwhelming evidence from reviews. You're probably going to have to do the advanced training first, and then you can make an application to become a trainer. But I think you'd have to make it as in, why should you become a trainer? What are you going to offer that other people aren't? And is it in a particular area? Is it going to be in person? So you're going to have to, that's what I would basically think it would probably be. If someone has feelings of not good enough, how would you approach it? As it isn't an emotion, it's more of a feeling. So that doesn't make sense. Should I use the integrative pattern to find out the first imprint and when they first remember not feeling good enough? Well, yeah. So basically, this is again a question I asked straight away. What's the difference between a feeling and an emotion? You feel emotions in that sense. It's the same thing. So I think that people get states, feelings, and emotions all kind of confused. To me, they are all the same thing. They're all the same thing. So someone has a feeling of not being good enough. You can start there. So you feel not good enough, okay? And out of 10, how strong is that feeling? How familiar? And when's the first time you can remember feeling this way now? That's where I would start. It's probably got quite a lot of identity stuff tied up with that. But yeah, that's definitely where I would start. Not feeling, not being good. Okay, so someone has feelings of not being good enough. You could possibly explore that a little further because that might not be good enough in a relationship. It might not be good enough at work. It might not be good enough in society. So I'd probably I'd explore that a little bit further to see if there's anything a bit more precise. But that's definitely the way I'd take it. Okay, here are a few what if questions. What if the memory is not vivid at all, despite being linked to a strong emotion? It's just it's not just about the answer to the question about the vividness, but the client really struggles to see it, especially when moving the eyes. I don't know. Oh, have you done it? What was the result? Um, or then basically it means it doesn't work. You know. So generally, this is what I do. And this emotion, and when's the first time you can remember feeling this way? And is this vivid? No. Can you go back any further to the first time you can remember feeling this way now? And I'll try to get them to go back further. Okay, so I'll try to get them to go back further. Sometimes people try to keep it context specific because generally, the first time something happens, it is a vivid experience. Might not be. And again, the answer is, did you do the eye movements on them? And they really struggle to see, especially when the eyes are moving. Yeah, it's really hard to concentrate on the memory when the eyes are moving, but it's meant to be. That's why you take a label and you keep feeding it back to them. What if the memory consists of different images that swap around during the eye movement process? Well, again, that's something which I am expecting, that the imagery will change. So if I've got somebody that when they think about the memory, there are several different memories, pictures that come up, get them to hold on the most specific and significant one. That's all. I also get that as well. If I'm working with somebody, we're working on a movie, and we're not getting much change, I'll get them to hold the most significant part of the movie. What if during the eye movement, the image changes from one to another? That's exactly what I'm expecting. So if it's during the simple pattern or the introduction pattern, fine. I want them to hold on to that memory for as long as they can. The operative words here being as long as they can. When it's doing the kinesthetic pattern, I want them to lose that memory and for it to go off and other memories to come through. So that's exactly what I'm expecting to happen. Hi, I applied the simple identity pattern on a negative memory. Why? We don't apply. I don't know why people think this. I'm going to have to look at the manual again and make it really, really, really clear. We don't do an identity from a memory. We do it from a situation in their life that they want to improve. And the person didn't get an age near his current age, then it's not integrated. Also, if the setup is incorrect, you can't everything else after that. It's like saying, well, I didn't put the foundations of the house in and now it's subsiding. Yeah, because you didn't put foundations in. Um, I asked him to think about the current problem. He told me he could make a decision to take action. So I stopped here. It's not the first time I've had someone with a positive or neutral experience in round three, but the ages don't match the current situation. At the same time, they don't report a negative feeling about the problem. So there's no need to work on the negative emotion. So my question is, does the age matter? Yes. If the age is more than a few years either side of the client's current age, it needs to be integrated. So there's two things here. First of all, we do not do an elicitation from a memory. If somebody has a negative memory, we've already got a tool to deal with that, right? It's to do with an area of their life that they want to change. So that's where you start. Start from there and run the processes from there. And I could imagine you'll get very different results. So yes, the age does matter. Anyone who's located in the USA, what company did you use to get professional liability insurance? I've not put this, but apparently ABMP covers IEMT as a somatic therapy. That's the only information I'm going to give you on that because I'm not in America. I have a client who has fear being around people because her parents didn't like her, beat her as well as many people on the place where she lives, other family, school, college, and neighbours. So it's not just one traumatic event, but many occurred since childhood. She's 47 years old. Should I do the PTSD or just work with the negative emotions and memories? Um, I wouldn't. So I use the PTSD model where an event has changed the client's life. The event has changed the client's life because their linchpin, that behavior, which the client first of all had as a positive trait, has now been reframed by the trauma into something that's problematic. And therefore, when they go into situations that elicits this behavior, the horror returns and they get flashbacks. So that's what the PTSD process is. So that wouldn't fall into this. Um, I know this sounds daft, right? There's a fear of being around people. Right, that's where I'd start. Not everything has to be a deep dive into the past, and I would allow that to be explored rather than just go straight to it in that sense. So I have a client who has a fear about being around people. Stop. So when you think about this fear of being around people, how strong is this fear? How familiar? And when's the first time you can remember feeling this way now? And go from there. Does that make sense? That's what I would do. That's what I'd do. Matt, another question from me. I get stuck when explaining the four identity patterns. That's the I, me, self, you. How can we simplify the explanation? I've already done the simplification for you, and it is on your video training. That when you do my course, I do a video, I record everything, and I do the exact setup you need to do. So what you need to do is you need to go to the video, you need to go through the video, you need to practice it and learn that off by heart. It's not long, it takes about a minute or two, and it's not that hard. But what I probably find is the biggest thing is that people go off from what I've explained and try to explain it in a different way, and they don't do the prep work. When I say the prep work, they have not learnt this. So when they are now trying to read this from their notes and from a manual, they they're saying this with such little confidence that that then sort of moves over to the client, and now you're basically just kind of two people without any faith in this technique. That is, I suspect, what is happening. So, as the practitioner, it is your job to learn this off by heart and go into it with confidence. If you're like, so we have these I, me, and self and use, and we're going to look at them because they have ages and locations, right? So, I, yeah. So, do you have I? Where is that? And how old is it? That's not going to make any sense. Now, if you explain, I'm not going to do the full explanation here because everybody trains differently. And if you want my explanation, you come on my training and I give the explanation on the training. But you have to go into it with certainty. So when I'm saying, so this eye, where is this eye for you? Just close your eyes. Where is this eye located? How old is this eye? And what's going on around this eye? Now, I find this when I'm doing IEMT, if you have any trepidation or something, you're going to get woolly and uncertain answers. This is why it's so important to learn the answers and the questions in IEMT. There's not that many, so you can do it without looking at your manual. You really should be able to do it without looking at your manual. Just learn the language, the specific language that you need, and use it. Uh, I've typed the explanation out and printed it. You can just read it over and over. Absolutely. Absolutely. So again, it only takes like a minute or 2 minutes to do the explanation. It's not long. It really isn't. But then you know it verbatim. You're just explaining about the whole concept, then about the I, me, self, and you, and then you go into their thing. Then you go into their thing. I'm sorry, but that it's already been simplified. It's already been simplified. I have a question for today. How should I work with the integrative pattern when a client can no longer vividly recall the early memory we worked on with a simple pattern that connected them? Should I get them to hold the same memory even though the vividness is decreased, or is there another recommended approach? So again, you've already done the simple pattern. So you do the simple pattern as an introduction, the intro pattern. And what I want people to do is get used to going to the integrative pattern, the kinesthetic pattern, the complex, whatever you call it, faster. Because if you'd have gone into the integrative pattern or the kinesthetic pattern faster, you wouldn't have come up against this problem. Also, trying to get them to hold the same memory even though the vividness has decreased. Uh, see what happened. What did you actually? All right, I think you're online now. Did you actually do it, and what actually happened? Because I don't know. Guys, if you also have any more questions, please put them below, and I will get to them. I've got a few ways of looking at that. I'm just seeing if any more people have sent in questions. So Narco, I think it was Narco. Have you actually done it, and what were the results? Because from this, it sounds like you actually did the session. Now, the thing is, IEMT only goes back to what it goes back to. It's an exploration. What's that? Oh, my phone seems to have cut out. Asked to hold a memory and still worked, and it decreased the emotions. Right. So it still worked then. That's the thing that I'm looking for. So it still actually generated a result. Well, still generated a result. So my advice for you is to get to the integrative or get to the kinesthetic pattern faster. This is what I'm really trying to kind of push with people now, is that yes, the simple pattern or the introduction pattern's good, but the real change does come from the kinesthetic pattern. That's what we really want to be using more of. Any other questions? August training is sold out. The next training is September, which I have, I think 8 spaces available at the moment. I've spelt it wrong, so it probably won't work. Oh no, no, I spelt it right. Any other questions at all? No, thank you. Okay. Uh, Again, my advice for people, if they get lost with IMT, slow things down and keep things simple. Is it a specific memory? Use that memory. Is it a feeling, which it most likely is? Use the feeling. Is it an identity of them? Use the identity work. Is it an identity of somebody else? Use that tool. Guys, I'm going to be doing the slides and stuff now, actually. I've been doing some really good phobia work recently. I've worked with quite a few people. In the PSAX exercise, why do you advise not to get a very positive event? Because we don't want the brain going from something really negative to something really positive. We want them going from something negative to something that's in the middle. Because basically, it's easier for the brain to shift from bad to something neutral than from bad to positive, because that'd be weird. It's a very NLP hypnosis thing of smash big happy feelings on bad things. No, you don't have to smash big happy feelings on bad things. And also, the people would therefore choose the opposite of the problem to try and resolve it. It's not the opposite of the problem that resolves it. It's somewhere in their life that they don't have the problem that's going to help resolve it. Make sense? Okay, cool. How's the IMT going, Nina? If anybody has any other results or anything they want to share about the work they've been doing, please do share it now. I'll read it out. We've had some great stuff put in the group recently. Um, so it is always worth reading how other people are applying IEMT. I'm going to be doing more and more demos with IEMT about how I work with people as well. That's going to be, it's an updated manual. I'm not happy with it yet. Um, once I have a new manual, I will make it available to those who have trained with me. It's not, it's more streamlined and more direct and more specific. Because I've been looking at where people kind of go wrong or lose track and stuff like that. And so I've tried to simplify it. Hi, Sally. Right, let me see. Hi, Matt. Sorry for joining late. I had a session one with my case study last week. I had done the simple pattern in the consultation call and all was fine. In session one, she was very stressed and basically I can get hardly shift anything. Right. Okay. So she doesn't sound like she's in the right state of mind to do IMT. There we go. So, yeah, exactly. If somebody comes into you really stressed, it's going to be hard to kind of do anything. IMT is not care and support. IEMT is really for when somebody has gone through something and is now looking to actually change. So what this person sounds like, she needs care and support if she's very stressed. As I'm sure other practitioners will say, you can do some breathing exercises and stuff like that, which, which is all valid. Probably not for a case study. So what you can do with this, um, it's like I've had this is when I used to work in central London, so I've had lots of different offices in central London. Um, she not she when people arrived, they were completely battered, especially if they weren't from London. I used to get people coming from Liverpool and Manchester and all around just to do sessions with me when I was working a lot. And they would get there and they would look like they'd been mugged, or they may have been if they're in London, but they're just completely like, ah. And so I couldn't really work with them, or not like I want to work with them as I could. So when I'm working with somebody online, it is actually much more relaxed because they're at home, they're in their own comfort and everything. So it does work better. What am I saying this for? Oh, if somebody comes to you really stressed out, it's hard for them. If somebody comes really stressed out, you can even check out Andy Austin's ball throwing techniques. That's really good for calming somebody down. But I think you might have to do some stuff like that before. If somebody's in a really stressful mood, don't do IEMT because it'll make them worse. I worked with someone who had a spider phobia. She wouldn't go to bed until she checked her bedroom and removed all of her bedding. After one session, she went into bed with even thinking about it. Brilliant. Well done, Hayley. Great work. Great work, Hayley. And that's it. It's not like she's going out looking to spiders to kiss them or make them pets. She just doesn't care. So a woman that I worked with on a training in front of everybody as a demo, she had a bee wasp and bee, a wasp phobia. And she said that she's had her windows indoor open over summer. And the other day, she actually got a wasp in a glass and put it out by herself. Again, big things. They might seem small, but they are big things if you have a debilitating phobia. But well done, Hayley. Really good. Any other results or any other questions at all? So, Sally, chalk that up to experience. Work with somebody else, in my opinion, or work with other people as well. As. Anything else, or are we all done? Okay then, guys, I'm going to upload this onto YouTube as well, and so you'll have it there because it gets deleted after a couple of months or something on here now. It wasn't your first. Yeah, no, to be fair, we learn more through things going wrong than things going right, though. Apart from that, Sally, how's the IEMT been going? I'm sure we'll get an answer soon, and then we can all go to sleep. So, Sally, apart from that, how's the IEMT been? I know she's typing away furiously. Okay, we've not heard back from Sally, but let's assume that it's going well. Okay, guys, same time next week. Please submit your questions either here or in the group or on WhatsApp, and I will do my best. In fact, let's just have a quick recap of all the things we've been through there. Lots of childhood trauma, and I can't move on to identity due to the amount of vivid memories. Stop doing all the vivid memories. Stop doing all the vivid memories and move on to the integrated pattern faster. I have someone who case study, best approach, lifelong low self-esteem. Okay, feeling of self-loathing. That's where I'd start. Don't worry about all the information they've given you. Just start with that feeling and see where it goes. Being an IMT trainer, I should imagine you'll have to be a practitioner, an experienced practitioner, an advanced practitioner, and then you'll have to go with your own case to the association to why you should be a trainer. Feelings of not being good enough. Yeah, see where it goes. What if the memory's not vivid despite being linked to a strong emotion? See if it goes back any further. If not, just do on what comes up, see what happens. If the memory consists of different images, try to get them to hold on to the specific image, the most significant image, I would, for as long as they can. During the eye movements, the image changes one from to another. That's what I'm expecting. I applied the simple identity pattern from an identity memory on negative memory. That's what we don't do. So we want to make sure we do it from a scenario in their life and an area that they want to change. And I find the more specific, the better. And yes, the age does matter. We want to bring the age up to their current age now. In the USA, for insurance, look at AMBP. Fear being around people, because their parents and all the other information. Go around the fear being around people now and use that in the integrative pattern. Hi, Matt, a question when explaining the 4 identity patterns. Yep, watch the training where I give it to you in full and learn it off by heart. No longer vividly recall on a simple pattern connected. All right, get to the integrative pattern faster, but it still worked anyway. Okay then, guys, we are done for today. Well done, some good questions today. Hopefully that's giving you some sort of clarity around it, and I'll speak to you all soon.